All right, well, we're recording again.
All right. We'll just think of something later.
Yeah. This is the pilot episode of the Decent Thrills podcast, where we don't really know what we're doing yet, and we're still testing things out. Which is why today's conversation topic is going to be the it sounds really negative to call them the B-list parks of the UK, but that's kind of what they are.
Yeah, it really does sound a bit negative.
If you say the A-list parks are like Alton Towers, Chessington, Thorpe Park, Legoland, Blackpool, those are like the main ones people talk about. So
also, you say Paulton's Park as well, but I'm still a bit...
Paulton's Park I think is an A-list as well.
Considering it's a very difficult one because it's a very small park. It's just a very, very good small park, so it's kind of difficult to level out what it comes into, really.
So we're going to talk about 4 smaller parks in the UK that we've both been to, what we think about their rides, and what we think would be good for the future of those parks, because they're all a little bit they're all kind of financially struggling a little bit.
I mean, I wouldn't say that about all of them. I think 2 of them definitely, but I don't know. I don't know about the northern ones. Let's put it that way. They seem to be doing all right, really.
Right. Well, let's get into our first park.
Where did you first go, Drayton Manor?
Drayton Manor, 2012. I think I was 13 when I first went to Drayton Manor.
Blimey, it's quite a while ago then.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally only went this year as a
for the first time. Yeah.
It was just sort of a why not thing as well. Like I'd heard very unsure things about the place. I'd heard that it really wasn't that good. Oh, the rides suck and that. So it was just sort of a tacked on thing at the end. Yeah, we're going to Alton Towers. Let's go Drayton Manor for the first time. Why not? And that was an experience.
Yeah, it's like it's in the Midlands as well. It's like really close to me. I can hop on a train there.
It's also really close to Towers. I mean, considering it's about 2 hours, about under that.
Less than that, I think. They're both in Staffordshire. I thought Drayton Manor was like... I didn't think it was in Staffordshire, but it turns out it's like Tamworth is like right on the very edge of Staffordshire.
Yeah, it's like just there.
Yeah. So
it's a very strange place as well. It was because when I went into it, I thought it was going to be not that good at all. I thought it was going to be I don't know what sort of park they think it was going to be like. I thought it was going to be like Lightwater Valley. Oh, sorry, Flamingo Land, but with worse things. But it was actually really good on my first visit. I came away very surprised.
I think it's really nice, Drayton Manor, for what it is. They do really, the theming, I'd say. It's nothing special, but they do.
It is a shame that some of it has been left a bit. I mean, I know if you speak to like people who be going there, oh, this ride's been shut forever and whatever. And there are some things that are like gone now due to, and it's just like the Rapids, that whole area has been shut off, unfortunately, so I never ever got to even see it. But
yeah, their Ferris wheel disappeared as well. That was something I didn't ride the first time I went.
Where was it? Was it in Thomasland or is it somewhere else?
It was up near, it's where that little remote control car thing now is, up by Apocalypse. That used to be the Ferris wheel, yeah.
Right. Because I know that they also removed recently their cable car as well, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, that's very recent. I didn't realise. I'd heard nothing about that.
We're removing what's the station for that. I never quite figured that out. Like, where did it even go?
Well, I think it just did a round trip. I think it literally just went... You got on next to G-Force, and then it went round the top and back down again.
Oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah, it just does that. So it's
I'm trying to find it on an aerial view, and I'm, like, struggling.
Yeah.
There's, like, no sign of anything, really.
Yeah, so, but I think it's nice, you got the lake in the middle.
It's also home to, like, one of the, like all of the big rides there are strangely good in, like, a way that you would not expect them to be. Especially Shockwave.
Shockwave. Yeah. Well, let's get into some of the rides there. Shockwave, I think it's great. Honestly.
What a surprise that was! Because prior to that, I've been on Vortex at California's Great America, which has since been converted into a floorless coaster, and I've also done Riddler Revenge, which is arguably the best one, and it was in my top 15 for a very short amount of time before it was edged out. But I really enjoyed it. So when I saw like photos of Shockers, it's short, it looks pathetic. That it's probably going to feel painful. And then I get on it, it's got one of my favourite drops on a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's a really good drop, and it does a 0G roll.
Yeah, the 0G roll is fantastic.
And the 2 corkscrews at the end, you really feel like you're being kind of pushed to the side as you go around those corkscrews.
Oh yeah,
it's quite forceful.
Did you notice on the one that we did at Great Adventure? What's it called?
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern. Did you notice how a bit more controlled that felt in comparison to Shockwave?
I did, I think. Shockwave definitely feels a bit more out of control, and
I think that's what makes it like fun. I don't know, and a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah, the old Intamin style. Because it's, yeah. No, I really liked it. It's my favourite stand-up, but then the other 2 I've been on are Green Lantern and Vortex at Carowinds, so... Yeah,
but I liked Green Lantern. I didn't. You definitely didn't.
I have good reasons for not liking Green Lantern, but we'll get to that whenever we record the Great Adventure podcast.
Yeah.
So, okay, what do you think of... I was going to say G-Force, but you've not been on that.
Yeah, because this year it took ages to get up, and they were literally testing it the last time we were there, because I've been twice this year.
Yeah,
once
I've
family
been twice.
And once with Joel.
Yeah, I've been twice. And the first time I went was, it was 2012. I remember riding G-Force. I rode it 2 or 3 times, and I remember enjoying it a lot. But I was young, and I wasn't really an enthusiast. And then I hear loads of people saying, it's painful, it's boring, it's forceless. I've heard so much bad stuff about it, and I don't know, I've got no experience of it, because I've been on it, and I've enjoyed it, but I don't really remember what it was like.
From like a perspective of somebody who's not been on it and like seeing it, testing it, it looks really strange.
It does look weird.
It's such a tiny coaster, and the trains are massive. So like seeing it go over that really small hill after the drop, I don't know, it looks so odd, and I really wanted to ride it, but unfortunately it was just closed because I think they were training hosts actually when we were there last.
Yeah, it was something open. About they had like some maintenance, and because of the maintenance they weren't able to train people on it in the off season.
Yeah, it's a shame really.
To do that. Yeah, which is why it's testing now. It was testing when we were there, because I think it's open again now.
It must be, yeah. I really want to... Am I even going to be able to get back there by next year?
We could probably get back. I'm going to get that back there soon for sure.
I mean, if we go for... Yeah. Because I do really want to ride G-Force. It's kind of the last piece of the puzzle for that place. Because without it, it does kind of feel like it's missing something, but it's obviously there, so you know that missing piece is there.
So, the other roller coasters there, what? You've got Accelerator, the Family Boomerang.
It's... Honestly, Accelerator, I
don't know.
I was let down by it, not because of what you probably think. It was let down because I thought Velociraptor at Portland's was a lot better. Actually, no, I don't know what it was, because Benson's a lot rougher than the one at Portland's Park, and that kind of it didn't ruin it necessarily, but it just kind of I feel like some of the forces were better on Accelerator, but apart from that, it just felt a bit drab. And maybe it does have something to do with what you spoke to me about, and that is the theming and the fact that it is obviously something that it isn't.
Yeah, I really don't know why they went with the car theme after Ben 10, which is like, it's like kids sci-fi basically, and they've got all this. People are like really praising the theme on it as well, like for what they've done. Like, okay, yeah, they've done pretty well to convert it to a car theme, but a car theme with what they have, like with all the sci-fi stuff around it, it doesn't work that well.
I didn't think it was too bad, but I never actually saw it as Ben 10, so I can't really say too much on the matter.
They've gone for like the logo for it is like, it's like orange and.
Doesn't the logo look like a stock PNG with just like text on it?
Yeah, and on the green trains and track, it really doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't paint the coaster, honestly.
Yeah, they really messed up. They fucked that up.
I mean, they probably ran out of money, to be fair, because
they chose a bad theme to convert it to, in my opinion.
I think either that or they didn't have enough money to fully change everything. Because some of it does feel quite... Like the thing at the end of the first spike, that's obviously a Ben 10 thing. They haven't even touched that.
No, it's... Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
And they've literally just slapped some like CO2 symbols on some things that are obviously not. They don't belong there.
Yeah, the inside of the queue as well. Like they've rethemed it to a workshop. It does look quite good, but I remember the Ben 10, like the queue for Ben 10 when it was actually Ben 10. The queue was really, really cool. The indoor queue, the theme was really, really nice, and I just kind of wish they'd kept it, you know, kind of sci-fi-ish instead of completely retheming it into something it's obviously not. Because the sci-fi theme that they had on it was really, really nice.
Also, one of the other issues I had with it wasn't really to do with either of those. It's just it was so slow to wait for.
Oh, yeah.
Out of everything in that park, on both times I went there, queuing for Ben 10 was probably like... I didn't even queue to Ben 10.
I remember it being the longest queue when I went for the first time.
It's stupid. It's just the bane of it being a shuttle coaster, really. I mean, you can't really do too much about it. The queue for Velociraptor at Portland's feels like it moves a lot faster. I'm not quite sure why.
Does it have a shorter cycle? Is it a shorter ride?
I don't think so. I mean, it'd be very close if you timed it. I think it might be just to do with the fact that the ups are a bit quicker and also... Maybe the fact that it's not like a complete... I mean, it is a cattle pen, the queue for Velociraptor, but it's not as compact as Ben 10's like building, where you're like constantly seeing the same stuff. On Portland's Park, on the queue for that, you actually make progression around.
Right. Okay.
You don't just stay in a room for like 10 minutes, just at a slightly different location.
Okay.
You actually move around a bit and get a different view. Maybe that's why.
Right. Well, I think that sums up our thoughts on that small family boomerang pretty well. There are some other really good rides here that aren't coasters. So, like, I mean, Maelstrom's a pretty solid flat ride.
Maelstrom also surprised me the first time I went. I heard good things about it. I was kind of skeptical going into it, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I just wish the cycle was a bit longer.
Yeah, that's pretty much any stipulation I have with it. Also, It's actually like strangely themed.
Yeah, like no, that's something you can say about a lot of the rides at Drayton, really.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't expect stuff to be there, but there is like an attempt at least. And obviously, some of it isn't fully realized. But in the case of one of the thrill rides there, especially Stormforce 10.
Stormforce 10. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's so fantastically done.
Yeah. I really wish more water rides would go for this kind of theme.
Yeah, the whole
the industrial kind of modern fishing kind of theme, because there's so much cool stuff on that ride.
Well, I believe it's supposed to be an RNLI theme.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Everything about it, the queue, the ambience in the queue is fantastic.
Yeah.
The walking up the lighthouse with all the stuff just like around you and the books that look like they're falling over on top of you. It's just so well pulled off. And you would not expect it for a park like Drayton. It's ridiculous. And the station itself looks like an actual boat station.
I really love how the actual boats look on this as well. Like, they look like little lifeboats.
Yeah, they do.
They look better than Valhalla's boats, for sure. Because, you know, Valhalla's boats look like plastic Viking ships, whereas these ones look like genuine lifeboats.
Yeah, they look like genuine ribs, yeah.
Yeah.
And there are other things about it. Unfortunately, when I went there the second time, this wasn't on. But when I was there the first time, they had the shutter, the door. So it would push a boat out. The door would close. There'd be some sound effects, and the track would tilt upwards a bit to push you down the ramp. That is so good.
Yeah, that was a really cool effect.
I didn't even know it was there, and I'm so glad that I didn't know, because it was quite a surprise. I loved it.
Yeah, and then as a water ride itself,
it's really good.
It's great, yeah. The backwards
The
backwards drop gets you ridiculously wet.
And
then the double down drop is really fun as well.
Yeah, into the lake as well, like into the massive lake area. It's not just into a trough.
Yeah, so Stormforce 10, solid.
It's probably my favourite overall ride there, if I'm honest. Overall. Obviously, like, there are other things that excel in other things more, but just as something that's just so well thought out, and it's just so good.
Yeah. Right.
Should we talk about the drop tower next time?
That's the last one, I think, to talk about. Apocalypse.
Well, it's the last major one, yeah. There are some others, but I still haven't ridden a few of them. Like, I haven't been on Pandemonium, even though that was open when we were there. But
Apocalypse is fantastic drop tower.
Yeah, that was another one that
really
really surprised me. They actually have the tilt working on it. That was something I was not expecting, because Portaventura, they haven't got any of the actual tilting mechanisms working on their stand-up floorless trains.
Oh, right.
So, like, I was shocked that this small UK park was able to keep them going.
Yeah.
Especially for a tower that old.
I've only been on it once because it was really busy when we last went. When I went when I was really young, I was still, like, shit scared of drop rides. So I didn't ride Apocalypse at all. But I went on it this time, and I just did the standing floorless tower because we were only going to get one ride. And God, what a drop!
I love not just that, the whole like feel and theming of the inside of the building. It's not out of this world, but it sets an atmosphere, and it really reminds me of Oblivion in ways.
Yeah, I wonder if that's.
And I'm gonna, like,
what year did it open? Because I wonder if that was like, if that was a kind of way to counteract.
Maybe. That is actually a good point.
2000, yeah, so it was 2 years after Oblivion.
It might have been, it might have been a counteract for Oblivion. Pretty clever. Pretty well done as well.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Yeah, the drop is great. The braking at the end is really sharp and really gets you.
Standing flawless is terrifying. Like, I didn't hold on at all, and you're just on this little bicycle seat with just the over-the-shoulder restraint holding you in. It's literally just got you stapled there, like stuck with nothing below you, and you're literally leading into this restraint. It's scary. It's pretty good. It's probably my favourite drop tower.
Just wait till you ride Hurricane Condor. Now that scared me. That because it's literally 3 times taller than Apocalypse or some stupid shit.
Yeah, we need some more good drop towers because man, Drayton, A+ drop tower.
So yeah, a couple other things about Drayton. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the family and kiddie stuff first, or do you want to talk about the not talked about area of the park whatsoever?
You mean the zoo?
Yeah.
Okay. The zoo's all right. It's a zoo. It's pretty.
Yeah, but it's really nice, and it's a nice isolated area from the rest of the park. We went there on the second time we went there. It was very busy with schools and lots of people going, and literally just walk into this nice area, and it's just peaceful.
It's quiet,
a good place to walk around when the rest of the park is absolutely rammed.
Yeah,
got a really nice place to drink coffee and eat
I didn't
stuff.
think it was much different to any other zoo I've been to.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was stellar, but it just felt pretty good for what it was.
Yeah, there were
it could have been a lot worse.
There's expansion for the zoo as well, isn't there? Cause...
Yeah, they're like fully going on with it, and I'm happy with that because it seems to be one of the things in the park that's really well looked after.
So that makes the zoo. I'm trying to move this along because we've been going for about 17 minutes now.
We'll cut it down.
Thomasland.
Thomasland, I absolutely love it. If I'd gone there as a kid, that would have been my favourite place on earth by far.
It's my favourite kids area of any park I've been to. It's so nice. It really does feel very authentic, very Thomas the Tank Engine.
Also, Troubles and Trucks is like one of the best kiddie coasters I've been on.
Troubles and Trucks is great. It still feels like a Gerstlauer, even though it's a kids ride. It still has that Gerstlauer twistiness.
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
It's so fun, and just being around there with the music and you got sometimes the actors walking around. It's just so fun and cheery and happy.
It's got a lot of charm.
Yeah, so, and there's one other thing I do want to quickly talk about. Since this is going to transition into the future. Buffalo Coaster. That's I still haven't been on that. It's rubbish. It's one of the worst power coasters I've been on. I genuinely prefer Flying Fish because it's just like jarring and really slow and really jolty, and it's just so you can tell that it's not supposed to be there anymore. You can tell that they don't want it there. Funnily enough, they didn't want it there because there was going to be plans for a new ride there. There was
the what was it? An S&S family launch.
Yeah, S&S family launched in Verticoaster, which bloody hell, that would have been something to see. But unfortunately, that got cancelled due to a certain political thing that happened in the UK.
Yes. So, other than that, what would you like to see in the future of Drayton Manor?
I kind of want them to do something around Shockwave's area. As good as it is starting to show its age a bit.
Really?
And especially with the rapids gone now.
I think if the rapids are permanently closing, then that's definitely a potential area for a new ride. Or they get rid of... There's a lot of empty and unused space around where the Buffalo is, so...
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's got the zip wire thing now, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, there's a high ropes course there. But
So
that doesn't use the whole space, and it can easily be taken down if they want to.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing that I just want to see is I just want to see that Rapids area utilised in some way, whether they add in some flat rides in the middle of Shockwave or just something, because it's literally just a wooden fence blocking off that area at the moment, and it feels kind of sad.
So, ideally, what would be a new coaster that you'd like to see there?
Right, let's not say one of the two things that other guy says.
So not an RMC Raptor.
No.
That would... It's like... I think Drayton is primarily a family park.
Wrong audience entirely.
Yeah.
Especially considering how violent these seem to be.
Yeah.
Have you heard?
Well, I heard someone say that the entire ride is just intense all the way through, which doesn't sound good for Drayton Manor, so...
Something Gerst, an Infinity like Carajo would be pretty good.
Yeah. If they want to keep going for families, maybe just, I don't know, like a max spinning coaster.
Yeah, like Sierra. But I'd say Infinity launch like Carajo. Put that in. I mean, you probably could fit it in around Shockwave's area if you were clever enough. I mean, Gerstyle, they can come up with some pretty interesting shit. And there's plenty of, like... Because where the Rapids goes underneath Shockwave, there are supports that are, like, made for the space. You could probably fit elements through there.
Right.
And have it weaving around that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Add that to the area. Give it a dockside theme.
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential for that. So they could get a Gerstlauer spinner, maybe.
Yeah, that as well. Just something that tackles the family market and isn't too over the top and expensive. Basically, I think.
Or intense. I don't think an intense roller coaster is what they need at that park.
Yeah, they're not a thrill park. I mean, like I say, Alton Towers is literally an hour and a half of the way. There's no way they can compete with that.
No. Okay, so I think that pretty much sums up Drayton Manor then. Yeah. So.
Right, this one's going to be a lot. This one's going to be a lot shorter to talk about.
On to the next part. So, Flamingo Land.
Yeah, this one there's not too much to say about it really, because I've only been I went there once in 2016, but I went like 3 times in that week. I was up north.
Right, I went last year.
Yeah, it's a strange place because the theme park literally makes up around 15% of the land. If not maybe a little bit more, and the rest of it is just entirely grass and zoo.
Yeah, it does just feel like a load of rides kind of placed in a field.
It's like Budget Carmarthen.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is literally just sat in the middle of farmland. It's a very strange location.
You can see it from miles away when you're driving through. Like, you can see the shot tower, and you can see Kamali, the Mumbo Jumbo.
Yeah, it's very strange. And then they have a caravan resort there, which we stayed at when I went. I stayed there. That
seems to be one of the main draws to the site, other than the park, honestly.
I thought the caravan park was quite nice. Like, the caravan we stayed in was nice. On the night before, we watched Radiohead play Glastonbury on the TV, which was, I have good memories of that. And you can literally see Hero and Mumbo Jumbo from the window of our caravan.
Yeah. Well, anyway, talking about the rides, be fairly quick because there's only like 3 to 4 notable ones in the entire park.
4 major coasters. Hero, it's
a good concept. I'll give Zero that. Oh no, Zamperla. Zamperla. I'll give Zamperla that. It's a good concept, like a compact flying coaster. However, good God, it is rattly as all hell.
I think it's okay. It's okay until you hit a corner, and then it beats you up, and it's pretty.
It's 75% corners.
Yeah, it's pretty bad the whole way through.
It's a shame because the whole compact flying coaster thing could be something that could be very good, but it's just no.
Yeah. So, what do you think of Mumbo Jumbo?
Ooh, this is one where we're going to have a bit of conflict of interest. I did not like Mumbo Jumbo that much at all. It was very rough when I went on it.
Ooh. See, I don't think it was rough
I
too.
held on to the straps on the first 2 times I rode it. Couldn't trust it. And then the one time I actually like put my hands limp on my body, like I normally do when I ride coasters, not holding onto anything. I came off with a massive headache and like my body felt really sore.
God. Yeah. I remember you saying before I went to Flamingo Land, I remember you telling me, oh, Mumbo Jumbo's not that good, it's rattly and painful. And I got on expecting a bit of that and came off thinking it's fine. I thought it was really smooth the whole way around. There was no noticeable rattle. The restraints aren't the best. Those SNS...
Yeah, the restraints are terrible. I don't understand why SNS thought that was a good idea.
It's like a lap bar and then shoulder braces.
I get it. If they're trying to use the same restraint design for all their rides, because it's the same on Slammer, the lap bar is also used on a lot of their flat rides, like the Screaming Swings. But of all the designs for a roller coaster, don't do that.
The ride itself... I thought it was pretty smooth.
Honestly, I can't remember much about it. All I remember is rough. And...
Okay, well, I'll go through it best I can. I think the Beyond Vertical drop, I thought it was quite an intense drop, actually. Like, it really...
Yeah, but drop's the one good thing I remember about it, but everything else I just found like a wild mouse, just...
Yeah, the outward bank bit's pretty fun. The hang time you get is alright. It's not the best hang time I've experienced.
In those restraints, it's terrible.
The downward vertical spiral again, it's alright, but it's not,
I don't hate it, but at the same time, I wouldn't go out of my way to ride it again. The one that I would go out of my way to ride in that park is Kamali.
Yeah.
Because Kamali is ace.
Yeah. Kamali's brilliant. I rode Kamali so many times.
Good. It's a Vekoma SLC of all the things. Like you'd think, oh, it's going to be rough and painful, but no, it's like genuinely fun. The only issue really with it is the fact that it's so short.
It's really
other than
weird,
that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it drops down, and you get really close to the grass. Like, it's such a cool flyby, like near miss, and then you do a loop, and.
You're over the water at that point as well.
The loop isn't over the water. The Cobra
Is it not? The Cobra roll's over the water, yeah.
The Cobra roll's over water. And then there's a 0G roll.
Which rides surprisingly well for a Vekoma SLC 0G.
I didn't have any problems with roughness on this ride at all. I thought it was perfectly smooth.
Literally, it was just the fact that it was short and had one train ops was the only thing that I didn't like about it. The actual ride itself was pretty solid. Yeah,
and then it just kind of... does a helix and then ends, and that's really my issue with the ride. It feels like it needs a corkscrew or a sidewinder or
but
another little bit at the end.
They're not a very big park, so they can't really
afford
to do too much.
It's a cloned model. Was it the first version of?
I believe it was the first. Yes.
Right. I don't know. It feels like if they're going to clone this model, I feel like they should have put a bit more effort into the end.
I mean, they added another helix to it for some of the models.
Yeah, that's true.
That counts.
Yeah.
But even then, I get what you mean. It's literally like they've taken it's like, imagine Nemesis Inferno, but they just cut it off after one of the corkscrews, and that's it, end of the ride.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I mean, one more coaster.
Oh, this is the conflict happens here again. Velocity.
I love Velocity so much.
It
is so fun. I don't know how you don't like it. It's really good.
I found it really uncomfortable and rattly.
How did you sit on it?
I sat in the only position you can sit in it, which is in the forced motorbike position with that awful brace on your back. God, I did not like it.
I honestly didn't feel the bracing thing on my back at all. I mean, maybe I'm just used to it because of all the discos I've been on, but I literally did not have an issue with it whatsoever.
I didn't like it.
It didn't feel that bad. I loved it. The forces are great. The transitions are fun in that seat, and it's made me really, really, really want to ride Tron at Disney Shanghai.
I still want to ride Tron because it's fucking Tron. I mean, But
the whole Vekoma motorbike concept, I love it. I think it's great fun. I think it could obviously have been improved a lot, which I believe they've done with Tron.
I hope that's smoother. One thing I will say in its favour is it does have a couple of airtime moments.
Yeah, they're really
which is
interesting
pretty
in
nice.
those seats. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about. I think we'll briefly cover two other rides in the park. Flip Flop, because that's absolutely
those
insane.
restraints. They
are so much gap to them. If you're a really thin body build like me,
and me,
you go flying.
Yeah.
Like you literally go slam into the seat in the restraint, and you'd think that'd be like an awful, painful experience, but it's ridiculous fun.
Yeah, you have too much space in your seat on that ride. It just feels
I
absolutely
love
insane.
it. It's so out of control, and the cycle is so long. It's like the complete opposite of Maelstrom.
That's one thing I will say about the cycle is it takes such a long time to slow down.
Yeah, that's more of an
it
issue
just
with the
kind of
ride design
swings
itself,
and
though, not the
swings
cycle.
and swings like slightly. Yeah, so that's Flip Flop. Pretty good airtime. You can also get your feet wet on it if you're not careful.
Yeah, the other thing I want to quickly brief over is something that I haven't actually ridden, and that was the massive water thing. What's it called?
Lost River Ride.
Yeah,
It's weird. I feel like as a water ride, it's objectively bad because it's just a very long. Like it doesn't do much. Like it's kind of cool because it feels like a boat ride through the zoo, and you get some interaction. But it's a lot of just sitting there, looking at animals, which is
the
nice.
queue
It's
for
fine.
that ride is not okay in any sense of the word. When I went there, I went on a day when it wasn't even that busy. The queue was massive. It was like, I'd say 45 minutes.
God.
And like velocity was on like 10. It's
Yeah.
insane. And I did not want to queue that long for something that looked so pathetic. And the drop looked pretty fun, but literally you could just go ride Tidal Wave.
Yeah.
And
But then, so you go up the really slow lift hill, and then you go into that building. And I remember watching it off ride, and I'd see a boat go into the building, and it would be in there for ages. And I was like watching, like, when is it going to come out of the building? And I start to think like there was some kind of pre-show or like, you know,
yeah, I
show
assumed that
inside
too.
the building because it drops. But no, that's literally how slow it goes through that building. There's no pre-show in there. It just moves really slowly through the building.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
one
you
of the
just-
stupid things in the park. Honestly, I would not be sad to see that gone whatsoever.
I think I would, because the building looks quite nice.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it does. Apart from the
Walls.
walls logo on the side.
It's like Six Flags level of advertising. Come on.
Yeah, it is. But as an adventure through the zoo, it's quite nice, and it does add a nice little element to the skyline at the park.
Yeah.
I think Kamali is like the best element for the park skyline. It does have a good skyline, probably the
Yeah.
best skyline of any UK park, except maybe Thorpe
Or
or Blackpool.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay,
Oh shit, we forgot Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
Fantastic.
It was running the drop cycle when I rode it, and only the
Oh.
drop cycle. And
Oh, you're very unlucky. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
yeah,
Oh, the launch cycle was fantastic. It's got great air, unlike a certain other shot tower in the UK that is actually pathetic.
Ice Blast is
Oh.
a bit crap, isn't it? Yeah.
Blackpool really fucked themselves on that one. It's like, hey, we're going to modify this thing without SNS's permission. Oh, what do you mean you're not going to like help us maintain it anymore? And then it just became shit.
Yeah. Okay, I take back what I said about the skyline thing because I remembered Blackpool and Thorpe and Fantasy
Yeah.
Island. There's a
Flamingo
lot of
that's
little
just one.
parks.
B-list park is a good word to describe this one
It's
for sure.
definitely a B-list park.
As for the future for this place, for God's sake, please put something in Corkscrew Spot.
I think this has probably been mentioned by somebody before, but something like Mindblower, a small gravity group wooden coaster. Like
Yes,
Mindblower would
that would be
so
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, that would fit that place really well. More than Drayton, because with Drayton you've got a lot of the sound issues and stuff and the height thing.
And if
However,
not-
Flamingo Land is literally in the middle of fucking nowhere, so they're not going to have any problems with that, are they?
Yeah, and if not that, something. I mean, even something like Oscar's Wacky Taxi or like Kentucky Flyer, like.
Kentucky Flyer.
Yeah, that puts a date on this podcast for you because that was just announced
Yeah, that was literally just announced, and
a couple of days ago. So we're still basking in the glory of that of
Planet Coaster render.
That announcement video.
That genuinely seems like something Flamingo Land would do, honestly.
Yeah, or they'd use Roller Coaster Tycoon World.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, small gravity group, because they look great, and I don't know if this is a trend that I just kind of noticed in my head, and I don't know if this is just me being insane or if this is actually true. Does it seem to you like all the big chain theme parks go for GCI for wooden coasters, and then all the independent ones go to Gravity Group?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that comes out of the fact that one of them's cheaper than the other by quite a significant amount, apparently.
Do you think, Fun Spot are a chain. I mean, and they've got both a GCI and a Gravity Group.
Well, let's put it this way: how many GCIs are there in China compared to Gravity Groups right now?
That's true. There are a lot more GCIs.
No, other way around. There are a lot. All of them are Gravity Group, bar like 2.
Oh, I was thinking, what is it? Jungle Flyer and
that's GCI. That's Gravity Group.
Oh,
they're all Gravity Group. The only 2 that aren't, I believe.
Wood Coaster.
Okay. China, that's Japan. Oh wait, is that China?
Wood Coaster's in China, I think.
Yeah, so Wood Coaster, Python and Bamboo Forest.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of, yeah.
I'm
rubbish with Chinese coasters.
And, what's the other one called? Jungle Flying Dragon, I think.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 GCIs in China that I can think of off the top of my head. Okay. Meanwhile, there's like a million Jungle Trailblazers, there's Time something. There's so many.
Wow, we've got a bit off tangent here, but yeah, that sums up Flamingo Land pretty well, I think.
Yeah. Now let's go to the other Yorkshire park.
The next park.
Whitewater Valley is a place that I really wish had a lot more money than it did.
It's nice. I was so
surprised. It is
surprised
such a nice park.
By how nice this park is. Yeah.
It's so scenic, and every time it felt like a Roller Coaster Tycoon scenario, honestly, where you're given a setting and you're supposed to expand on it.
That's a great analogy.
It's funny I say that. It's literally a scenario in RCT1.
It's a scenario park that nobody started anything on yet.
Yeah.
Because there's so much nothing in this park. It's so strange.
It has so much potential. And it's home to one of the most it's home to 2 of the most meme coasters of the UK.
So,
one of them being really good, the other one being special.
Okay, so yeah. God, okay, I've just pulled it up on Google Maps. There's so much.
There is so much space.
Yeah.
Not to mention, that place is run by the farm, so the land around it, I would assume, is also from that farm, or Jesus Christ, this park could be huge if they wanted it to be.
I do kind of see it as the UK's Knoebels, in a way, because Knoebels focuses on being the classic American park with the caravans and
this is definitely a classic. I mean, the only thing that isn't classic here is Angry Birds, but that's outside the park, isn't it? Or it's right near the entrance.
It's in the park still.
It barely is in the park.
But
it's
you've got
right on the
you've got a carousel, and you've got there's the bit at the entrance where all the rides are in sheds. They're in barns. There's an aviary with birds of prey, which is cool. They've got a little farm trail, and animals you can see.
They've got a train.
It really does feel like a kind of classic UK
and all of the rides there that aren't the Ultimate and Raptor Attack are all temporary attractions.
Yeah,
and it feels like a fun fair, but like an old fun fair, not like a what's a nice way to put this?
A shit park.
It's not like the I'm not talking about grungy fun fair. It feels like a very classicy one.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's a good way of saying it. Yeah. Okay.
Let's just talk about the 2 big ones, shall we? Well, I say 2 big ones.
We'll start with Raptor Attack then.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's gone through so many rethemes actually.
Has it?
It used to be a cat and mouse theme.
Then it was the sewer rat, wasn't it? Was it a sewer rat or something like that?
Oh, and was it always sewer? No, I think it was a rat theme because there were photos on RCTV with the stupid trains on it, and then it became Raptor Attack. And wow,
It's
for a
cool.
park that size, it's cool as fuck.
Yeah, like I really genuinely felt like I was in an
Yeah, you
underground
enter into a tunnel and you walk down these like stairwell that actually feels like a shaft, like a mine shaft down.
It's really
the station's
atmospheric.
cool.
It's really
And they've
atmospheric.
got like, they're not amazing animatronics, but they have animatronics and lighting effects in the building. So like as you're going around this classic Schwarzkopf Wildcat layout, you've got these raptors that are actually like quite close to you.
It's
going
such a
off
weird,
and making noise.
It's such a weird, jarring experience because you've got some really modern kind of effects and things.
Yeah, and you're on this like absolutely ancient. I mean, isn't the chain lift this literally a chain? Like
I don't
a chain
know.
link.
I didn't.
I
see
swear,
that.
I remember the chain on this looking oddly like ancient, like it was literally just a chain.
If you know Wildcat at Cedar Point, it's that. Layout.
Yeah,
it's
that
one
of those.
Indoors. Yeah,
it's really cool, and the fact that it's like sunken into the ground almost. I believe I don't know how they did it. I think they dug out a hill. It was probably all just a dirt hill, I'm assuming, and they could just go down and keep going until they got to what they did. It's such a weird ride. Like you would not expect something like that to be in a place like Water Valley, but it's just there and it's fantastic.
The exit path as well up the spiral staircase with the water coming down in the middle, and there's like raptor sounds playing. It's really cool. I thought it was really,
so
really
well
cool.
done. And that sort of thing is what makes me wish that they can expand and do more stuff.
Because they can do really good stuff.
Okay. Now there's
the ultimate, yeah.
Oh god, what a fucking ride design that is.
So, I mean, first things first, I love the station building. I really like the station building.
It's so classic.
Yeah.
It's
nice. So
it's got little like doors they open and close on the front of the thing when they're not open.
Oh, it's nice.
It's so cute. It's so like and the gates are like proper old fashioned as well.
Yeah.
They take ages to open and you can like hear the mechanism underneath the station.
God. Yeah.
It's such a weird ride.
You get into the most ridiculously long train on any thrill coaster. Like
it needs it.
Like, the length. Yeah, with the ride time and the lift hills of that ride.
Is it longer than it is? How long is the train?
I don't know, but it's long.
I'm checking.
Oh, let's RCDB.
You go to it.
I've got the page up. 10 cars per train. And each car has 2 rows.
That's 2 cars longer than I-305.
God, okay. Yeah. Those trains are insanely long. So,
it's ridiculous. And the trains are a lot fatter than the I-305 ones as well, so it is pretty big. They have an unload station in that. Is it an unload? I think it must be I
don't think it's an unload station.
It must have been an unload. It must have been an unload station at some point because they have so much platform space there.
Yeah. It's like one of Sean Sandbrook's Planet Coaster creations.
Yeah, they could fit 2 trains in that station. It is a big station.
And it's a nice station, you know. It's,
and then
nicely built up.
It's a shame the ride itself isn't quite as...
Well, let's go into that. So you go up the slowest lift hill in the entire world, I think, or one of them.
It's like Japan levels of slow.
And then you slowly crest over the drop.
Oh my god, the first time I rode this, it was in the back row. And then going over the top of that's one of the few times I've been like shit scared on a ride because I know that it's really old and really rickety and bumpy and it's like, oh my good god, I'm about to be pulled over this thing in a train that's like ridiculous cars long. Oh god, it just goes.
Yeah, so over the drop and then you go along the first half, which feels just like...
It's all low to the ground.
It hugs the terrain the whole way. It's all right. I didn't really...
The first hill's interesting.
I didn't remember experiencing any roughness, but I also don't remember experiencing any airtime.
It was bumpy. It wasn't rough. It was, like, shaky.
Okay. And then you go into those weird little bunny hills at the end, which I think just served to slow it down by creating a lot of friction.
Maybe. Or maybe they just didn't want to put a straight section.
Yeah. And then you go up the actual slowest part of the ride.
Yeah.
And then slowly go around the top, and you can look down. You see the whole park, and you can see how much empty land there is.
Yeah,
between because you're like so far away from the park at this point. You're like Jesus Christ.
You're literally 2 park lengths away from it. I think
2 park lengths. Yeah, you pretty much are. And then you drop,
into like
the most
Oh.
insane. Oh my god! Like it's crazy.
It's literally just a turn, but it is not banked, and it's like barely banked. So you get absolutely slammed to the side of the straight.
It's like Skyrush laterals. Sustained.
I'd say more than Skyrush laterals because it's not good. No, because on Skyrush you get the laterals from the banking. On this, you literally get it from slamming around the corner at a high speed.
The most intense laterals I've ever experienced. It throws
same.
so hard. At the bottom of the first drop, I slammed my knee into the side of the lap bar. It was really weird hearing Drew, the intern, describe the ride because he did exactly the same thing as me, and then I was like limping off the ride. So you go through that, and then there's a kind of airtime hill, which feels like it jerks down the other end. It's like one of the most painful experiences on any roller coaster I've ever experienced. And then you go there's 2 tunnels where it takes you a photo, and this last section, this second section, is like 3 times the length of the first section. It's so long. It feels so long. And then you just slowly meander back into the brakes, where it will sometimes stall and have to be pulled by tractor.
Oh, it's such a... I'm kind of split with it, because I love the ride because it's just such it's ridiculous fun, but on the same time, I would not be sad to see it go.
The fact that they removed over-the-shoulder restraints in favour of lap bars on that ride.
Wait, what?
They used to have over-the-shoulder restraints.
No way!
Yeah.
Owie! Wowee!
Yeah. That's probably why. I think it did anyway. Maybe I'm heard that wrong. I swear it used to have over-the-shoulder restraints.
I feel like that's not true. That can't be true.
Think
There's no way. They're not that stupid.
I can't find any pictures on the RCDB.
I don't think that's true.
I swear it had over-the-shoulder restraints at one point. I guess we'll have to look into this later.
But
yeah,
good
that's,
God, if they did that, that is stupid.
So yeah, that's
Like Water Valley.
Like
the future for this one, I want the Ultimate gone, and I want it replaced with the fucking fuck off the Voyage, but through the forest.
I don't want the Ultimate gone. I want the Ultimate. I want the Ultimate fixed in the areas where it's ridiculously rough.
You can't fix it though, because the way it's built,
I don't know. I like.
You'd have to
to
retrack the entire thing.
Well, maybe they.
I would not be sad to go in favour of something like the Voyage. So you got a massive lift hill. You go for a few large hills, and then you turn into the forest section. And you just twist around.
If they could afford that, that would be amazing.
Made by GCI or Gravity Group, whoever. More GCI because I like GCIs, but. Yeah, so the first time it's large hills with floater woody airtime, and then you go into the forest bit and it goes like Prowler or Mystic Timbers where it just bumps up and down around through the forest and comes back out.
They have lost a lot of their
speed.
They have lost a lot of their temporary flat rides as well.
Yeah, a lot of them have gone. Yeah, so get rid of the flat rides to make it more modernised, and also make things more like Eagle's Claw. Eagle's Claw.
That's something to mention. Yeah, Eagle's Claw's great. That ride almost killed me.
It's got one of the best KMG permanent cycles I've seen on an afterburn. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. I'm so glad.
I have very poor tolerance for spinning flat rides, and that ride almost pushed me over the edge. It didn't, but I was close.
Yeah.
So that's pretty great. One other thing I would like to quickly mention is the Angry Birds Land. The just little kids play area.
I did mention this earlier, but we didn't really go into it.
I think it's so cool.
I did not actually pay much attention to it. I kind of glanced at it and just went into the park. I did not.
I love it. It's it looks like an Angry Birds level. I know Angry Birds is kind of dead now, but it looks like an Angry Birds level. And there's a little bench that's got 2 massive pieces of elastic, and it's the bench is the bottom of a slingshot. So it looks like you're sitting in a slingshot about to be fired away. It's really, really cool. Better than
the other Angry Birds Land in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm not.
That was a purpose-built Angry Birds Land, not a retheme of an area. So, yeah.
When we get to the Thorpe Park episode, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So I think that sums up.
That's Water Valley. Okay, now the next one, I'm going to have a lot to say in this one
This is
because
the final park.
this is probably out of all of them the one that's most depressing to talk about. Really,
The most
there's
depressing,
so many reasons.
but also the most interesting.
It's the most depressing because it has the most. But I think out of all of these places, this one little park has the most potential in it.
So Oakwood.
Yeah.
Oakwood.
Why? That park is responsible for me becoming a massive enthusiast because of one ride there, and that ride is Speed.
Speed, yeah. Well, let's before we talk about Speed, I mean, the general park environment, it's
nice.
It is kind of nice, yeah.
It's not scenic exactly, but it's, wooded areas. It doesn't look like dirty or clean. There's not concrete everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, most of the places at least. Not counting that circus area.
One thing I like quite a lot is that big grassy field in the middle.
Yeah.
Where you look down it and you see the Oakwood sign and Megaphobia like towering up behind it. Looks really fucking cool.
That view of Megaphobia is just fantastic, and when I went for the first time, it made me realise how big Megaphobia was, because I did not think it was that big at all. I was quite taken aback by that.
That does surprise me. I think Megaphobia, for its size, its top speed is like 48 miles per hour.
Yeah,
which is
weird.
It's weird. I feel like it would be faster. But, yeah. Should we start with Megaphobia then? Because I feel like when UK enthusiasts talk about Oakwood, they always go for Megaphobia. Megaphobia's amazing, classic Woody. I love Megaphobia, best ride.
They need to shut up because it really is not as good as people say it is in the UK.
I like it. It's a good.
I like it. No, I like it too. It's a really good CCI. However,
it's rough.
It's
really
not.
Rough.
Yeah, it is really rough. It is not even. Well, I mean, it is one of my favourites in the UK, but it's nowhere near like the top half at all.
Yeah.
And as it stands right now, I prefer Wicker Man because of how rough Megaphobia is. If Megaphobia was taken and given either a complete retracking or a treatment like Ghost Rider got, where they gave it some better profiling and make it last a lot longer, give it with new trains, then definitely I prefer it over Wicker Man.
But definitely. It would. If that ride was GCI retracked, it would destroy Wicker Man. It would be amazing. And everyone saying it needs to be RMC'd also needs to shut up.
Yeah, that's not... No.
Don't
No.
RMC
I mean, I don't want to have another disappointment on my hands.
The problem with RMC is, they turn a good wooden coaster, or an old crap wooden coaster that people don't like, into a good steel coaster. Because RMCs do not ride like wooden coasters at all.
They are literally one of the smoothest coasters I've been on in my life.
Yeah. They are incredibly smooth. So Megaphobia, I think
the thing is with Megaphobia is if you RMC that, you would definitely end up with something like Twimbers, and
let's not get into Twisted Timbers because some people know our opinions on that ride and are going to hate listening to us talk about it.
Yeah. Don't RMC Megaphobia. That's the point. Just don't.
Yeah.
Leave it alone, please.
We'll save that one for the last one. Creepy Crawler.
Don't you mean Flight of a Giant DMCA takedown?
Flight of the Giant Peach was what it was called when we rode it. And then it turns out they just didn't have the permission to use Peach.
Yeah, they'd made this whole Roald Dahl area out of what used to be an arcade, Wild West themed area. And then a year later, they were told they didn't have the rights to it, and they had to just get rid of a lot of stuff and retheme some of the stuff. And how do you do that?
I don't know how you fuck up that badly. It does surprise me how many people don't know about that as well.
Yeah, remember when I said this park was like depressing in a way? This is like one of many reasons.
I will say, if they're theming it to Creepy Crawler, that's quite a good decision considering Spooky 3D is right next to it. It has kind of put in a more kind of concentric theme for the area. The coaster itself, it does make me laugh that they they're marketing a 1997 Pinfari as a new ride.
Yeah, and it came from M&D's of all places. I mean, that place got a fantastic reputation.
We
behind
can't
it.
talk about that park because we've not been there.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's
yeah.
So that's there. I'm not going to talk about Circus Clown because that's fucking.
I rode that, and it is the most pathetic steel coaster. It's not the worst steel coaster I've been on because it's got nothing inherently bad about it. It's just pathetic.
I didn't ride that. I didn't ride the alligator thingy either.
I did that. That was the second most pathetic roller coaster I've been on.
Aren't those two both relocations from Camelot?
No. Right. So that another thing that's also sad is this park basically they've only ever had. Since, would you say since Speed?
Speed.
Everything they've had has been like mostly relocations, or they've moved rides around the area in the park. There's a little log flume and a powered thing.
The log flume is from Camelot, I think.
Yeah, and so is the powered coaster thing. They both came from Camelot. They both bought those from there. And of course, Flight of a Giant Peach, that was relocated from M&D's.
Yeah, the log flume's crap.
Yeah, they tried.
Yeah. It's a log flume. I'm sure people enjoy it. And there is some quite nice... Some of the theme on the outside is quite nice.
Some of the theming in Neverland. Yeah, the area is called Neverland. It's the kids' area. It's okay. It's not good.
There's a TARDIS in there as well.
Yeah, there's a TARDIS.
Okay, so... Moving on from that, Treetops.
It's a... Sierra Tivoli clone.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's probably the best of them have done, just because of how ridiculous its location is.
I love it.
It's built in around trees, like really tall trees, and if you put your hand out, you will 100% hit a tree.
Yeah,
they are so close, and I'm shocked they fit that in there, considering that's a clone.
It breaks clearance everywhere.
Yeah, and it's on stilts as well. Like the whole ride. It's supposed to be on a flat plane, so if you look out on the areas where it's like on a slope, they've put like an extra bit of support underneath where it's supposed to go to the ground.
Really,
it's just so whack and weird. Yeah, because going over the lift hill, it feels the reason it feels quite high up is because it's on a slope,
right?
And where that lift hill is, that's where the slope goes down. So.
Okay.
It's just a meme. It's
I love
so
it, honestly
ridiculous.
I actually really like Treetops. Right. So I guess...
Can we get to the ride now?
That
actually, no, hang on. There's one more I want to do first.
What's that?
The big white one, the entrance.
Oh, Drenched. Fucking hell.
Hydro. I don't like calling it Drenched. It's such a shit name.
I do prefer Hydro as a name. It's kind of a shame that they rethemed it. But Drenched is a fairly apt name because on the front row it does feel like a fire hose being opened in your face.
Yeah, I rode it twice, once in the front row and once in the back row. And the front row, I just got beamed. It's just so wet.
It's the last Intamin Mega Splash in the world.
Yeah, but last in the world, so please don't close it. If they close it, it's going to be a very sad day.
At Knott's Berry Farm as well, which is like...
Yeah.
Like Knott's Berry Farm and Oakwood. You've got this amazing famous park literally in the middle of LA, and Oakwood in Wales.
Yeah, and the one that's still got theirs is the one in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's just crazy to me.
And it's so huge. It's you would not expect that to be there, and it feels really out of place, honestly.
Yeah,
you can tell that, like in the early 2000s, they really were trying to ramp that place up.
Yeah, definitely. And then over the shoulder restraints? I mean, obviously, there's a reason it's got them, but
yeah, there was the accident. But it's such a shame it doesn't have T. If that had T-bars, that would be the best drop in the UK, probably.
Really,
honestly. Yeah, in the back row, you get proper airtime going down that.
Wow.
Well, I say one of the best, maybe not the best, but it is a very good drop. It's just everything is completely removed because of how stupid the over the shoulder things are.
Yeah, well, I think that sums up
pain.
I think that sums up Drenched anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to talk about the one.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Speed No Limits. I
love it to bits. It is.
This is the one I was more excited for. Because I had been on it.
Same, yeah.
God, that first airtime hill is definitely the best, airtime moment. probably the strongest airtime in the UK. I mean, Icon has some pretty fantastic airtime as well.
Yeah, but speed is so well rounded as a coaster, it's ridiculous.
So, I mean, you go over the drop pretty slowly, and then you go into that massive airtime hill, and then the overbank, which is...
Yeah, I mean, you've got a forceful loop that's like on the level of Schwarzkopf level forces, and you go up into the mid-course, you drop, roll, and the really, really intense helices.
That helix is so intense, yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a well-rounded ride, and I'm so glad that it exists. And it's pretty much the reason I'm an enthusiast. Because I went on Gerstlau's website a long time ago, and like that was one of the videos I watched over and over again, was the one of Speed. Because it just looked so interesting.
Yeah.
And it lived up to the hype for me. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
It's definitely a personal favourite, I'd say. As like good as the ride is, I'd say objectively you could have some
You had
grievances
it over
with it.
Taron for a while in your top list. Do you still have it over Taron?
No, I don't, not anymore. That's only because other rides have kind of moved it down a bit.
Yeah.
Well, one ride did, and you know very well what one that is.
Yeah. I think the best word to describe Speed is pure. Like, there's no fancy theming, there's no gimmick to it. It's just
pure roller coaster,
it's just a load
pure
of
adrenaline.
Yeah, it's just a load of solid elements, one after the other. I think it's
one of the most well-designed coasters in the UK, I'd say.
One of the best Eurofighter layouts for sure.
Yeah, and I'm so glad they got that instead of Rita like they were supposed to.
Yeah,
because initially when they made the thing, they were like, "Oh, we're going to buy it into an hydraulic." Rita, I mean, it makes sense. The whole Speed theme and the whole like racetrack theme. Rita was supposed to go in that spot, but then they had to bail out because they couldn't afford it, and they got Speed instead. I'm so glad that happened.
God, so this is a weird thought. I think I actually went to Oakwood before I went to Alton Towers.
Really?
Because when I went to Oakwood for the first time, Speed wasn't there, and when I went to Alton Towers for the first time, Rita was their newest ride.
Huh.
So I think it must have been before I went to Alton Towers that I went to Oakwood.
God.
And I remember not riding Megaphobia because I was too short, and riding Treetops a lot because I liked it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's such a that park though. It's they try so hard. Well, okay, they're owned by this company called Aspro, and they're a Spanish They're a Spanish company, which bodes well. And they are known for not taking too great care of their parks and things they own. They own a water park in Spain, which had like really great theming built into it. And then Aspro bought it and just built this like unthemed, grey, really unfitting water slide in it that sticks out so much.
God.
That just defines Aspro, honestly. Like they buy these parks that like have potential and look really nice, and they just fucking shit whatever they can into it. And that's literally what they've done with Oakwood since they bought it in 2006 or 7 or 8, one of those.
Yeah, it's very strange that
it's sad, honestly.
There's nothing. When was the last time this park got anything new? Was it just the relocations from?
Yeah, I think the last time we got anything brand new was probably Speed.
Right.
That is sad. That is very sad.
Yeah. Oh no, I think the new stuff, I guess, is what, the relocations from Camelot, the Neverland
That's
area?
not new though.
There must be
nothing is
some
new.
Stuff there.
The flyers are moved from a separate area in the park.
Oh god.
So literally everything was already there, apart from like the walkthrough thing.
Ah shit. Okay.
So they haven't had anything brand new since Speed, I don't think.
Yeah.
And if they have, it's been so minuscule and minor that it's not even been worth mentioning, really.
So, yeah, in terms of the future...
Right, where Oakwood is situated, recently, I say recently, it's been within like it's been within like 5 years or more, there is this resort called Bluestone, and they've got a really great water park there. And they are expanding out with a brand new like leisure centre thing that literally is right up against Megaphobia.
Yeah.
And it looks like they have a lot of money. They're a very professional-looking company, and their places cost quite a bit. So they're quite high-class places. I really want to buy Oakwood off Aspro.
Yeah.
and they can turn that whole area into one big resort. And hopefully, with a good company backing Oakwood, they can finally get out of the mud and rise again to like the levels of expansion they were back in the past.
Yeah,
I
just wish
back
they
to when
had
they got
something.
Megaphobia in 1996, is it?
Yeah, Oakwood. Megaphobia was 96, I think, or 98. It was 96 or 98. I can't remember.
98, one of those. But they got Megaphobia and they got Hydro and they got Speed. I want them to go back to that. I just want them to revive themselves out of this really shallow hole they're in at the moment.
So what do you want them to get in terms of a new coaster?
I'm going to pull a attraction images here, but I genuinely want them to get a RMC Raptor in the location where those tube slides are.
Okay, the Snake River Falls.
Yeah, if they got rid of those and they put an RMC Raptor there, that would do wonders for the place. It would give it a new thrill ride. They'd be able to market it quite a lot. It's not that high capacity, but it really doesn't matter for a place like Oakwood. I mean, they literally run speed of one train most of the time anyway.
That's true.
So
yeah. No, I could see that.
It would actually fit the place. And it would, like I say, hopefully it would do wonders. But the main thing I want, more than anything else, is just for Aspro to leave and Bluestone to buy them. I don't care about any additions. I just want the park to be saved from this like awful company.
Yeah.
I think that's about it then. That's Oakwood.
That pretty much makes Oakwood. I don't know what I'd add to Oakwood. I don't know. I think, massively dreaming, but a B&M Hyper. I mean, how many other parks could you see a B&M Hyper actually fitting at in the UK?
In the UK? Okay, all right.
Oakwood could, they're one of the only parks that actually would be able to get one.
I mean, I guess, but where?
Anywhere. They've got so much land.
You've seen Intimidator and Nitro. They are fucking huge.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they cover all of Oakwood's land and then some.
They'd have to do a lot of... I mean, it's very unrealistic in terms of budget, but...
God, I would absolutely kill the skyline as well. They would just fucking schwonk.
Yeah. I mean, you saw what Fury did for Carowinds.
Yeah, Intimidator as well.
And Intimidator. Yeah, B&M Hypers tend to...
Shambhala for fucking Portaventura as well.
Yeah.
Literally, there was a point in time when Dragon Khan was the tallest thing on that skyline, and it was just Shambhala absolutely dwarfing it.
And then the Red Force.
Yeah.
But, I guess one other quick note. The water park that's right next to it, Blue Lagoon, I went there, and there's an outdoor slide where you can sit and get some quite nice views of Oakwood. You can't see Megaphobia because it's completely hidden by terrain and trees, but you can watch Speed crest the lift hill and then go over the airtime hill from the slide at this water park.
Goodness.
Which is really cool. And you can also see that abandoned drop tower that's literally just going to sit there and not do anything for the end of time.
Well, that's it then. That's basically the four main B-list parks of the UK. There are a couple we didn't go over, but that's mainly because either one of us or neither of us have been to them.
The only other one I could think of is Fantasy Island, which I have been to, but when I went there, Odyssey was still red, and now it's yellow. And also Millennium was yellow, and it's now pink.
It's now pink and green, because why not?
I love that colour scheme, honestly.
I don't.
It's great.
I'd say Adventure Island as well is another one that I would technically count as a B-list. But...
I've not been there.
Yeah, but you've not been there.
I've not been to Adventure Island, and you've not been to Fantasy Island, so that could be another
Seaside
episode.
Parks. Yeah, Seaside Parks would do that.
Yeah, that'd be a good one for Blackpool as well. Obviously, Blackpool reigns.
Blackpool's this massive behemoth of a place you got to cover.
Yeah. So that's this is episode. I'm going to call it episode 0 of the podcast.
Yeah, it is episode 0.
It's kind of a trial for the format, so we can figure out how we're going to do things.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get something worked out. I mean, I really like the idea of talking about not just Merlin, Disney, Universal. I wanna kind of branch out, and hopefully we'll be covering the places we've been fairly recently in America. We'll be going over some places in Europe, doing some comparisons.
Yeah, also, we've got a lot to talk about for future episodes.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, and also have a lot to educate you on, specifically the Asia parks.
Oh yeah, that's something you can talk to me about, because as I demonstrated in this podcast, not video,
You know fuck all about them.
I don't know a lot. I know about the ones everyone else knows about, like Fuji.
I know way too much. I mean, I'm not even much of an Asia coaster buff myself, but I know quite a bit through just general knowledge.
Right. Okay, that's enough rambling.
Yeah.
That makes about an hour-long podcast, which is kind of what I was going for. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. Any questions or feedback, then just leave it in the comments, especially feedback for this episode, because good lord.
I will respond to any comments you leave, possibly in the next podcast. Thank you for listening. Follow us both on Twitter. Our handles will be on the end card and in the description. Goodbye.